There's a psychological principle that says if you remove yourself completely from a man's world, no texts, no calls, no checking his social media, no accidentally running into him, no asking his friends how he's doing, he won't just miss you. He'll experience something closer to withdrawal. And here's the part that changes everything. This works even if he's already with someone else, even if he said he's moved on, even if you haven't spoken in months. I'm not talking about playing games. I'm not talking about making him jealous or posting hot photos to get his attention. I'm talking about something much deeper, something that hits him at a psychological level he doesn't even understand himself. See, most of us grew up believing that if a man leaves, especially for another woman, the door is just closed, locked, sealed. Like once he's chosen someone else, that's the final scene of the movie. Roll credits, everyone go home. But here's what they don't tell you about how the male mind actually works. Here's what I didn't understand until I lived through it myself. That man, he doesn't know what he really had until he no longer has access to it. And I mean zero access. Not the watered-down version of you that's still hoping. Not the version that's moving on, but secretly checking his WhatsApp last seen at 2 a.m. The full, complete, unreachable version of you that's genuinely living a life he's not invited to. There's a name for what's happening here. I call it the power vacuum principle. And once you understand it, everything in this video will make sense. Let me tell you about my friend Danielle. She's 34, lives in Austin, Texas, works in marketing, smart woman, funny, the kind of person who holds doors for strangers and remembers your dog's name. About 18 months ago, her boyfriend Marcus ended things. 3 years together. She thought they were building a life, talking about moving in together, looking at apartments, the whole thing. And then one night he sits her down and says he's not sure anymore, needs space, needs to find himself. Classic, right? 2 weeks later, he's dating someone new, a girl from his gym. Danielle finds out through Instagram, because of course she does. And she does what most of us would do, what I've done, what you've probably done. She spirals. She starts checking this girl's profile, comparing herself, wondering if she's prettier, funnier, thinner, better in bed. She starts posting photos she hopes Marcus will see, starts texting him just to check in, starts asking mutual friends if he's mentioned her. And for 6 months, nothing changes. He's still with the gym girl, still posting couple photos, still looking happy. Danielle's stuck in this low-grade misery where she can't move forward, but she can't let go either. She's in what I call the waiting room, that awful space where you're not really living your life, you're just killing time until he comes back. Except he doesn't even know you're waiting. He's just living his life, and you're stuck. Then something shifted. Not because she planned it, but because she got tired, exhausted. The kind of tired where you just can't care anymore because caring hurts too much. She deleted Instagram off her phone, not deactivated, just removed the app so she'd stop checking. She stopped asking friends about him, stopped driving past his apartment by accident, stopped hoping. And here's where it gets interesting. About 3 weeks into her genuine detachment, not the fake kind where you're still thinking about him constantly but just not acting on it, she gets a text from Marcus, out of nowhere. 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. "Hey, been thinking about you. How are you really doing?" Danielle calls me crying. Not happy crying, confused crying. Like, what do I do? Does this mean something? He has a girlfriend. And I said something to her that I need you to hear today. I said, "Danielle, he didn't text you because you played games. He didn't text you because you posted a hot photo or made him jealous. He texted you because for the first time in 6 months, you were actually gone. Not performing gone. Not, look at me moving on gone. Truly, genuinely, unreachably gone. And that absence? It created a vacuum he couldn't fill. This is the power vacuum principle. Think about nature for a second. In physics, nature abhors a vacuum. When you create empty space, Something rushes in to fill it. Air, water, energy. The same thing happens in relationships. When a woman removes herself completely, not angrily, not dramatically, just completely, she creates an empty space in that man's emotional world, a space that used to be filled by her presence, her voice, her laugh, the way she texted him random thoughts, the way she made him feel seen. Now here's what most people get wrong. They think making him miss you is about creating absence while hoping he'll notice. But that's not absence, that's performance. That's you still being emotionally present, just hiding it. He can feel that. Men aren't stupid. They know when you're posting that photo for them. They know when you're texting just to get a response. They know when you're moving on is really just a more elaborate way of waiting. Real absence, the kind that creates a power vacuum, happens when you genuinely fill your own world so completely that he's not even on your mental map anymore. Not, I'm pretending not to think about him. Actually, not thinking about him. Actually living a life that's so full, so engaged, so yours, that there's no space left for wondering what he's doing. And here's the counterintuitive truth. That's exactly when he feels it most. Because up until that point, you were still in his orbit, still available on some level, still a source of validation he could access whenever he needed it. Even if you weren't talking, he knew you were there. He knew you'd respond if he reached out. He knew you were watching. But when you genuinely leave, when you become unreachable not because you're blocking him but because you're living, something shifts in his psychology. He goes from, she's there if I want her, to, wait, where did she go? And that shift? That's not about ego. That's about loss. Real loss. The kind he can't fix by dating someone new. But here's where most women make the mistake that keeps them stuck for months or even years. And I'm going to show you exactly what that mistake is. Because once you see it, you'll understand why everything you've tried so far hasn't worked. The mistake is this. You've been trying to make him miss the old you, the you from the relationship, the you that laughed at his jokes and made him dinner and texted him good morning. But here's the thing. He already knows that version of you. He lived it, and he left it. So why would he come back to something he already walked away from? He wouldn't. The version he'll come back for, the version that creates the power vacuum, is the new you. The you he doesn't know. The you that's grown. The you that's moved forward without him. Let me tell you about my cousin Rachel. She's 29, lives in Portland. School teacher, sweetest person you'll ever meet. 2 years ago, her boyfriend of 4 years, since college, ends things. Says he loves her, but isn't in love with her anymore. The classic. 6 months later, he's engaged to someone he met at work. Rachel is devastated. I mean, devastated. She's crying at family gatherings. She's losing weight. She's not sleeping. And everyone's telling her to move on, to date, to get over it. But she can't, because she's still there, still available emotionally, still checking his Facebook, still wondering if his fiancée is prettier. Then something happens. Her school offers a teaching exchange program, 6 months in Costa Rica. She takes it, not to get over him, but because she's always wanted to travel, and she figures, why not? Nothing's keeping her here. She goes. And for the first few weeks, she's still checking his stuff, still thinking about him. But then, life happens. She's learning Spanish. She's making new friends. She's hiking volcanoes and swimming in waterfalls. She's living in a way she hasn't lived in years. She stops checking his social media because she's too busy. She stops thinking about him because her brain is filled with new experiences, new faces, new challenges. 6 months later, she comes back to Portland. Different person. Not because she tried to change, but because she lived. And within 2 weeks, she gets a message from her ex. He's separated from his wife. They lasted less than a year. He wants to see her. He's been thinking about her constantly. He says he made a huge mistake. Now, here's what I need you to understand about this story. Rachel didn't go to Costa Rica to get him back. She genuinely wasn't thinking about him by the end. She was thinking about her students, her next trip, the new friends she made, her life. But that's exactly why he came back, because she became someone new, someone he didn't know, someone he lost access to. The old Rachel, the one who cried over him? He knew her. He'd already decided she wasn't enough. But the new Rachel, the one who lived without him? That woman was a mystery, and men are wired to pursue mystery. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. But what if he's with someone else? What if she's prettier, younger, funnier? What if they're really happy together? Stay with me, because we're about to get into the part that explains exactly why her presence in his life doesn't matter the way you think it does, and what actually determines whether he comes back. See, here's what research on male psychology shows us. When a man leaves a relationship and starts a new one, that new woman isn't usually a replacement. She's a distraction. She's filling space. She's helping him not feel the loss. She's giving him validation and comfort and sex and companionship so he doesn't have to sit with the discomfort of being alone. But here's the thing about distractions. They only work as long as they're distracting. Eventually, the newness wears off. Eventually, he starts to see her flaws. Eventually, real life creeps in. And when that happens, the space she's been filling starts to feel empty again. Not because she's not enough, but because she was never the point. She was the anesthetic, and anesthetics wear off. The question isn't whether she's prettier or funnier or younger. The question is, does she know him? Does she have the history? Does she have the inside jokes and the shared memories and the understanding that only comes from years together? She doesn't. She has what's new. You have what's real. Now, I'm not saying he'll definitely come back. I'm not making promises. What I'm saying is that you've been competing on the wrong playing field. You've been trying to be more attractive than her when you should be focusing on becoming unforgettable. And you become unforgettable by leaving so completely that he has to sit with what he lost. Okay, so let's talk about what this actually looks like in real life. Not theory, not psychology, the actual steps. Because I know some of you are sitting there thinking, great, so I just need to move on and live my life and he might come back. But how do I do that when I can't stop thinking about him? I hear you. I've been there. So let's break this down into something you can actually use. Here's what you need to understand about social media. It's the enemy of the power vacuum. Every time you watch his story, every time you check her profile, every time you look at old photos, you're staying present in his world. You're not creating absence. You're creating a haunting where you're there but not there, watching but not reaching out. And he can feel that. Even if he doesn't know it consciously, part of him knows you're watching. And as long as you're watching, he never experiences true loss. So here's what you do. You block him. Not delete, block. Not mute, block. Not restrict, block. You make it so you literally cannot see his content and he cannot see yours. But won't that make him angry? Maybe. But anger is an emotion. Indifference is what kills attraction. Anger means he still cares. And if he's angry about being blocked, that's actually a good sign. It means your absence registered. Block her too. Block his friends. Block anyone connected to him. Create a digital wall so high that you couldn't peek even if you wanted to. And here's the rule: 30 days. Give yourself 30 days of absolute zero digital contact. No looking. No checking, no accidentally seeing his profile through a friend's phone. 30 days of true absence. Most women never make it past day 3. The ones who do, something shifts. Now, I'm not saying you need to move to another country like my cousin Rachel, but you need to change your physical environment in a way that disrupts your patterns. Because right now, your environment is full of him. The coffee shop where you used to meet. The restaurant where he kissed you for the first time, the park where you walked on Sundays, Everywhere you look, there's a memory. And those memories keep you emotionally present. They keep you in the past. They keep you available to him even when you're alone. So here's what you do. You change your routes. Find a new coffee shop. Take a different way to work. Go to a different grocery store. If you can, rearrange your furniture. Paint a wall. Change your sheets. Create a physical environment that doesn't scream his name. This sounds small, but it's not. Your brain associates places with feelings. When you keep visiting the same places, you keep triggering the same emotions. Change the places, and you give your brain permission to start changing the feelings. Remember what I said earlier about becoming someone new? This is where that happens. Most women, when they're trying to get over someone, focus on distraction. They binge watch shows, they go out with friends, they keep busy. But that's just filling time. It's not building anything. What you need is an identity project, something that changes who you are, not just what you do. For my friend Danielle, it was pottery. She started taking classes at a local studio, something she'd never done before, something that had nothing to do with Marcus. She wasn't good at first, like really not good, but she kept going. And slowly, she started identifying as someone who does pottery instead of someone who got dumped. For Rachel, it was Costa Rica. For another friend of mine, it was learning to surf at 42. For someone else, it was starting a small business selling plants online. The point isn't the activity. The point is that you're becoming someone he doesn't know. You're accumulating experiences he wasn't part of. You're building a life that has nothing to do with him. And here's the magic. When you do that, you stop needing him to come back. Not because you're pretending, but because your life is genuinely full. This is the hardest one, so I want you to really hear me. Right now, you're probably still emotionally dependent on him in ways you don't even realize. You're still getting your validation from whether he might come back. You're still measuring your worth by whether he chose someone else. You're still hoping that his return would prove you were enough all along. And I get it. I really do. When someone we love leaves, it's natural to want them to come back and validate that we mattered, that we were worth staying for. But here's the truth. As long as you need his return to feel okay about yourself, he won't come back. And if he did, you'd be so desperate to keep him that you'd lose yourself again. So you have to wean yourself off that emotional dependence. You have to become someone whose sense of worth doesn't depend on his choices. How? You start small. Every morning, you look in the mirror and say, I am enough, whether he comes back or not. You say it until you believe it. You write it on sticky notes and put them on your bathroom mirror. You catch yourself when you start fantasizing about his return and gently redirect to fantasizing about your future. This isn't toxic positivity. This is rewiring a brain that's gotten addicted to his validation. Now let's talk about what happens if he does reach out. This is where most women undo all their progress. He texts, he calls, he shows up. And suddenly, all that work you've done goes out the window because you're so relieved to hear from him that you respond immediately, desperately, hungrily. Here's the rule. When he reaches out, you don't jump. You pause. You breathe. You remember who you've become. You respond, if you respond at all, from the new you. The one who has a full life. The one who isn't waiting. The one who might be happy to hear from him but isn't desperate to hear from him. You don't text back in 2 seconds. You don't fall all over yourself. You don't ask about the other woman. You're warm but measured, kind but detached, present but not available. Because here's what's really happening. He's reaching out to see if you're still there, still available, still the same woman he left. Your job is to show him, without saying a word, that you're not. That woman is gone. This new woman, she's someone he has to earn access to. So what do you actually do starting today? Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Today. First, you make a list. Write down every single way you're still connected to him. Social media, Mutual friends you only talk to because of him. Places you go hoping to run into him. Things you own that belong to him. Photos on your phone. Voicemails you've saved. Write it all down. Then you start eliminating. Today, you block him on everything. Today, you delete the photos or move them to a hidden folder you can't easily access. Today, you text that mutual friend and say, "I love you, but I can't hear about him anymore." Today, you start your identity project. One small step. Sign up for that class. Buy that plant. Research that trip. Do one thing that future you will thank you for. Today, you change one route, one coffee shop, one small environmental shift. And tonight, you look in the mirror and you say, "I'm doing this for me, not to get him back, not to prove anything, because I deserve to live a full life, whether he's in it or not." Say it until you mean it. I want to circle back to Danielle for a moment. That text she got from Marcus at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday? She didn't respond right away. She waited until the next morning. And when she did respond, she was warm but brief. "Hey, I'm doing really well, thanks for asking. Hope you're good." That's it. No questions. No opening the door wide. No, "I've been waiting for this moment." And you know what happened? He texted again. And again. And within 2 months, he was telling her he'd made the biggest mistake of his life, leaving her. Now, here's the part that matters. By the time he was saying that, Danielle wasn't sure she wanted him back. She'd built a life. She'd made friends at her pottery studio. She'd started a small Etsy shop selling her mugs, and people were actually buying them. She'd become someone who didn't need his return to feel whole. She ended up giving him another chance. They've been together for 2 years now, and she says it's better than before. Not because he changed, but because she changed. Because she entered the relationship from fullness, not emptiness. But here's what I need you to hear. Even if she hadn't taken him back, she would have been okay. That's the point. That's the full surrender shift. It's not surrendering to him. It's not giving up and hoping. It's surrendering to your own life. It's letting go so completely, with such genuine commitment to your own path, that you become the one thing he can't replicate or replace. And whether he comes back or not, you win either way, because you become someone who doesn't need a man to complete her. And that woman is irresistible. You started this video wondering how to make him beg you to come back. And I've given you the tools, the psychology, the steps. But here's the truth that took me years to learn. The moment you genuinely don't need him to come back is the moment he will. And if he doesn't, you'll be too busy living your amazing life to notice. So here's what I want you to do. Close this video, put your phone down, and take one step, just one. Block him, change your route, sign up for that class. Do one thing that says, "I choose me," and then tomorrow, do another. Because the woman you're becoming, she's worth showing up for, whether he ever realizes what he lost or not. I'm rooting for you, always.